So, one of the things I've said for years, the hat-on forward thing, which is sort of metaphorical. I don't care who wears their hat which way, except quarterbacks when they go to the podium. And that's basically about maturity and understanding and self-awareness, right?
Sure.
And I've said this for years. I don't think Dak has a great arm or is a great athlete, but his hyper-maturity, he's an adult, yet non-emotional in big emotional moments. But he was getting sort of emotional yesterday because, right, like this is his last year guaranteed for the Dallas Cowboys. His contract will be up. And as usual, Dak was able to see through everything and land a comment on his future in Dallas.
It's a business, and when I'm going to say it. I want to be here, but when you look up, all the great quarterbacks I watched played for other teams. So my point in saying that is that's not something to fear. That may be a reality for me one day, may not be my decision.
I love that. I'm not afraid to go into the market. Love it here, but not afraid. And I think Dak would actually have a bigger market than you think. I think he'd have a bigger market than Tom Brady at the end. I do. I think he'd have a bigger market than Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. I do. Russell, as we know, little cringy. Don't get that with Dak. A lot of drama with Aaron Rodgers. You don't get that with Dak. Tom Brady's age. Dak's only 31. Dak, you get no cringe, no age concerns, no maintenance, no drama, very productive, can win 12 games a year. His floor, 8 wins, his ceiling, 12. Probably not a Super Bowl. But, think of all these really talented, near the top of the draft quarterbacks. Cam Newton, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, a bit combative, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, competition and commitment issues. How much do they win? You know who wins? Jared Goff, Dak, Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts. The guys that don't give you a lot of drama. Justin Herbert's going to start winning a lot. Is that if you ask general managers, they're looking for a coach on the field. They're not looking for drama and maintenance and passive-aggressive. Green Bay moved off Aaron Rodgers, and he had just won several MVPs. Darkness retreats. Guy coaches, GMs, they don't want to deal with any of that nonsense. And so Dak's maturity, this is what I've been banging on for years. Hat on forward, say the right thing, put a wet blanket on a potential fire, all this stuff. It's what GMs look at. I think Dak would have a really big market. I think it's highly probable that the Raiders and the Panthers and the Giants and maybe the Seahawks and the Titans would all be interested at the end of the season. So Dallas needs to know that. Oh, there'll be a market. It'll be bigger than Aaron's market. It'll be bigger than Tom's market. And you think, oh, that's crazy. He's 31, 12 wins, no drama, productive. Dak doesn't even have great weapons now, and he had the number one offense in the league. And you can't give McCarthy credit, right? He's a bum. Everybody thinks he's a bum. Remember, 30% of this league has chaos at quarterback. You never have that with Dak. His floor is 8-8. Here's another thing. It's not a great college quarterback draft next year. Here's another thing. If Tua and Jordan Love sign contracts, and they will, who's quarterback 2 on the market? There won't be any. It'll be Dak and Sam Darnold-ish players. So Dak's going to have market. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to overpay him. I don't have a problem. I don't like people that live in fear. Go to the college draft and draft somebody. But it's not a great college quarterback draft. It's okay. It's not great. There's not going to be a market outside of Jordan Love and Tua sign. And, it's interesting. You can always tell your value in my business, your business, football business. What's your market when you're a free agent? What is your market? I think Dak's would be pretty big. 6-7 teams minimum. And again, I was thinking about this last night and this morning. I don't want to pay him $60-some million, but he is really like a CeeDee Lamb. He's going to have a lot of leverage. Here's Jerry Jones talking about Dak's contract.
I do not think that this will be his last year with the Cowboys at all. I mean, it's pretty clear, I think. I want to say it if it hadn't been clear, of how much we appreciate what Dak Prescott has meant to this team in a positive way. But believe it or not, in my life, I've had a lot of things I wanted that I couldn't get because I couldn't afford it. Now, have I learned to live with that in 80-something years? You bet I have, and life does go on.
Can we go back to Dak in this alleged robust market that you feel will be there? So it's actually a pretty decent quarterback draft, right? Carson Beck at the top of Georgia.
That's the guarantee.
I know you're lower than market on Quinn Ewers, but he is very good and promising, and he's considered a top 10 pick right now by a lot. Shedeur Sanders is out there.
Shedeur Sanders has had a bad year of, hey, look at me, I'm Shedeur Sanders.
100%.
There are over half the teams in the league will be totally turned off by that.
That's entirely possible. Now, he could pop again. Now, how about this kid, Jalen Milroe from Alabama? The tools are there. Accuracy's a little spotty. We'll see. But you mentioned this kid, Drew Allaire, the Penn State quarterback.
He would be my second pick.
Wow. I mean, he's still got a lot to prove.
There's only one college quarterback that everybody likes, the Georgia kid.
Well, yes. But that being said, outside of like the 5 guys who could go top 10, Colin, like, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you just saw them go like Sam Darnold as a bridge quarterback. Nobody wants to pay a quarterback $50 million. And that's where I think he runs into a problem. The only team I see potentially going for Dak is the Vegas Raiders. That's really the only one. If they're drafting top 3, they're taking a quarterback, right? They're not paying $50 million for
I
Dak.
think next year's quarterback draft, I think there's a lot of names. There is one that everybody likes. This year, there were 2 that everybody didn't like. 2 that everybody loved, Caleb and Jadon. There were 3 that everybody thought could hit, McCarthy, Michael Penix, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
So you had 5 where there was very little negativity. The kid at Penn State, raw. Colorado, a lot of ego. There is one quarterback in this class. And so if you're not at the very top, Carolina's in such a bad division. You know, Cowboys or Giants in a better division. So Carolina could have the 3rd pick. My take is they would probably go to the market. And that owner, David Tepper, does not want to start over again. He wants wins. And remember this, is that a Cowboy quarterback comes in well-known. What does Carolina have to do? Sell tickets. So Dak Prescott sells tickets in college basketball, NASCAR heaven, Charlotte. He sells tickets.
I guess my issue is like, okay, so Dak's going to come in at $50 million. The Panthers already have garbage skill position players, right? They're one of the weakest skill positions. So, like, now you can't go spend because you're paying Dak all the money. It's a tough one. Like, you're paying Dak $50 million, and there's going to be a lot of holes.
He's going to get more than 50. He'll get 60 on the market. Now, remember, this year the cap went up like $14 million more than people suspected it would. So $60 million will feel like a couple years ago, $55 or $50 million. But so that is something to think about. All this television revenue, all this gambling revenue is going to move the cap up. So 60 sounds crazy today, but it won't be in a year. 60 will be 50 in a year.
All right.
I'm just telling you, Dak is mature. If Dak wins 10 games this year, you're going to say he's won 12, 12, 12, and 10, mature. And who isn't going to like that that's in chaos at quarterback? I mean, just again, Dak
what
is
if Sam Darnold wins 10 games with the Vikings?
By the way, ask yourself this. If when my dad passed, you know, I learned a little bit about wills and when parents hand, you know, the money out, if they have any and they pass, they're not necessarily always handing it out to the smartest kid or the nicest kid. They're giving it to the most mature kid who can handle dealing with the will, the executor of the will. The parents look at who's the grown-up of the kids, who can handle it emotionally. Dak may be the best quarterback in the league at the podium since Brady retired. And he was probably number 2 to Brady forever. He puts out fires. He says the right stuff. David Tepper in Carolina is not going to roll the dice on a college kid when he's losing season ticket holders because they can't win games. He's going to go get that really popular national name Dak from the Cowboys. and you don't think the Giants would be interested? You think they want to go back to the draft and do another 5 years with a Daniel Jones knockoff? Brian Daboll's going to say, I can win 14 games with Dak. He'll be 31, 32 at the time.
By the way, Riley Leonard, a Notre Dame quarterback who was at Duke, he is supposedly like in the Daniel Jones mold. So you can have, discount Daniel Jones in the draft.
Timing is everything. It's an average to weak quarterback class, and who's quarterback 2 on the market?
Well, I'd say timing and price point.
I think people are willing to pay. Look at Kirk Cousins, what he made. Price point's important. But Kirk Cousins and Dak, you're going to pay more than you want. There are some things you're going to pay more than you want.
Kirk is a great point. Didn't he get $40 million a year?
Yeah, and off a surgery at 39. Dak's 31 today and no big health issues. And winning more than Kirk Cousins.
I like how you spend money, huh? that.
I mean, there's certain things in life. Transportation. I'm going to spend what I'm going to spend. Quarterbacks. I got to spend what I got to spend. If I want Josh Allen or Lamar or Mahomes, I got to spend what I got to spend. I'll make it up on guards, linebackers, safeties, and slot corners. Tight ends. I'm not going cheap on quarterbacks.